Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's your man Chuck Ruffin on What's Up, Chuck. Today's segment is What's Up Wednesday, and I know I haven't been on in a week or so to really talk to people, but I at least wanted to come on here for about 30 minutes or so and just talk about some of the questions that people have been proposing.
Everybody, how's it going?
For people,
man, Chuck on What's
getting
Up,
some
Chuck.
feedback on my
Today's segment
stuff
is
here, so give me one
What's Up Wednesday.
second.
And I know I haven't been on in a week or so to really talk to people, but I at least wanted to come on here.
Oh, okay, I'm good now. I started hearing myself talking with a little bit of lag, and I couldn't find the mute cursor because it was hidden behind my What's Up, Chuck logo. What's up, kiddo? Yeah, after I'm done, okay? Go get a Capri Sun in the pantry. Alright, so I owe some people some answers to some questions, which is what I'm going to focus on today. I know I haven't had the opportunity to answer all the questions that were given to me last week, so I'm currently scrolling through my post here to see if I can find the original one. And so I appreciate you guys joining me. A lot's been happening over the past week or so. Alyssa and I have... What's up, Todd? How you doing? Hello, Miss Brenda. How are you? Thank you for joining. A lot's been happening over the past week. I don't know if you all caught my show yesterday. I just jumped on really to kind of talk about finding Jesse, the missing veteran that's in Scottsdale, Arizona. As a matter of fact, I'll bring that up again so that way people can see what I'm talking about. So Patricia Conger, she's been putting on the effort by herself really to search for her twin brother. She has reached out to several entities. She ended up getting the help from Code of Vets. If you guys haven't heard of them or know what they're about, take a look at Code of Vets, another great military veteran affiliated organization that goes out and helps veterans. It's ran by the CEO. Her name is Gretchen. There are really close ties with some philanthropists out there, one of them, and specifically his name is Bill Pulte. He's the one that's sponsoring the $30,000 reward for the missing veteran. He's directly related to this, and he sends his condolences pretty much every day to her directly. So it's kind of one of those things where it's not just like, hey, I'm willing to help you. He's actually in communication with her every day and checking on her well-being and ensuring that she's getting the resources that she needs to support this. So Alyssa and I actually are in a group chat with Patricia and a lady named Wendy. She's from Code of Vets, as well as Patricia's boyfriend and a couple other people, trying to organize a search party for next Saturday. I believe it's the 5th of October. They're still putting together some details. There will be a flyer eventually. So if you guys aren't following, go to that Facebook page there at the bottom, Find Jesse Missing Veteran. If you know anybody in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, we've been reaching out to truckers. We've been reaching out to... I personally have spoken to the Yuma NCIS. I have personally spoken to the Scottsdale detective that put out the APB that you see there on the left-hand side. Alyssa has reached out to some of her friends, got us in touch with Luke Air Force Base OSI. She also got us in touch with a truckers organization that she's putting out information to those guys. She's basically e-blasted several hundreds of groups trying to spread awareness on this. And it's close to our hearts. For one, he's a Marine Corps veteran. 2, he's a military veteran. 3, it's another suicidal veteran out there. So Mission 22 automatically kicked in, our passion for that. Definitely wanting to make sure that, we're doing our part by supporting her as much as possible. And so what we've done is basically contributed some of our time to helping them get information out to the masses, so that way they aren't left with just people saying, hey, I'll help in any way I possibly can, and then they back up and don't really put forth any effort. So that's kind of where Alyssa and I have come into play. We can't physically go to the search party, unfortunately, but we are here and willing to help organize anything. So, I've taken on creating the email address. Alyssa has taken on coordinating most of the social media front stuff. We're just involved as much as we possibly can be from a distance. We really want to help her out. So that's just kind of where we are with that. And it's tragic, right? He's been missing since the 14th of August. And ultimately, so he lives in northern Utah, and he drives down to Scottsdale to visit his girlfriend. And I guess the day that he left behind his wallet, his cell phone. He even left behind his service dog and took off in his Toyota. And the video screenshot that you saw on the lower left-hand side of the first flyer was basically a screenshot from one of the places nearby where she lived, where his girlfriend lived. And so it's kind of one of those things, like that's the last known location of where he was. That's where his car was spotted. So, and Alyssa put together a really great graphic of the Nevada license plate with his license plate on there, and it was shared to that group as well, and it's been shared all over the place. So, take a look at the Facebook group. There's a lot of people asking really good, valuable questions. If you have an idea of, who we could reach out to as far as resources are concerned, or try to share the information, take a look and see if you can offer anything, because that's really what it's about. It takes a community, right? It takes a community to help out people like this. So, we appreciate those who have joined the group and have decided to participate. So thank you for that. And I know that's kind of an ongoing thing. There's other missing veterans out there, but this one kind of caught our eye just because of, his network to the Marine Corps, and of course the potential for a suicide. So that's kind of sad. And not to start off my chat for anything depressing, but it's just something that I'm passionate about right now, and so is Alyssa too. So it's I've got my partner in crime also helping us out. So I hope Patricia appreciates this. I've been sharing my videos with her, and she's appreciative. She's been sharing my videos to her group as well, so it's pretty excellent. Anyway, so enough of that part. Anyways, I have been really busy with work. I just wanted to talk about my career so far. As a space operations officer, you can pretty much go in a multitude of facets. And I know not a lot of people have asked questions about my career field, but some in particular have. Mr. Chris Gulick. I actually told him earlier that I wasn't going to be doing this live feed, but I talked to Alyssa and I was like, well, maybe I could do 30 minutes. So I'm going to cram in a 30-minute session, answer some questions, and talk about some stuff. So yeah, with the space operations career field, I can end up in launch. I can end up as a command and control, which is what I'm doing now. I can end up in acquisitions. I could ultimately end up working with an outside agency, such as NASA or the United Launch Alliance. Any of those things are possible. So while I'm here at command and control, it's really great to see the intricate parts of how space operates. And one of the coolest things is my leadership goes out and interacts with all the outside agencies. And he just posted a couple of photos of the Joint Navigational Warfare Center. And he got coined by them. And it's interesting to see that interaction of outside agencies and what they contribute to the fight when it comes to space operations. Because there's such a diverse and vast amount of resources out there that the general population just does not get that regular exposure to. And so, a part of my career field, a part of my everyday life, I try to kind of inform people of certain things that are important. So for instance, I was talking to Chris Gulick probably last week sometime, and I was mentioning to him, I was like, did you know that the GPS constellation is actually managed by United States Air Force. And he was kind of taken back. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, yeah, so Schriever Air Force Base, 2 stops, manages the GPS constellation. So your navigation, when you punch in an address on your Google Maps and it takes you to a destination, the GPS satellites that are providing that navigation service to Google Maps is owned, operated, and managed by airmen at Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado. Yeah, so how cool is that? Like, your actual navigation system is directly managed by the United States Air Force. Not a lot of people know that. I actually mentioned that to a couple of folks at a bar one time, and I think the response was like, so what are you telling me? Like, you're telling me that Google satellites are not their own navigation system? I was like, no, guy, like, the global positioning system that is up in space currently is managed. The satellites themselves are managed by the Air Force. And the service that you get from Google is basically designed by Google, but they use the GPS satellites information. Like, that information is computed and put out into Google Maps, and that's what they use. Like, they use the GPS constellation to provide that navigation. So can I delete your address? No, I can't do that. Unfortunately, I don't have that power. I can only see what the satellite is doing, but I don't even do that from my job here. That's all ran in Colorado. So my job here is directly related to the command and control, like ensuring that, if that satellite goes down or the constellation of satellites goes down, I have backups. So that's pretty intense part of my job here, is ensuring that the maintenance goes in and out as required. But if you want to delete your address, I think the best thing I could say is bulldoze your house. That's probably the only way it's going to go away. Jokes though, all joking. Don't go out and bulldoze your house, please. Yeah, so addresses, like those things I can't control. Literally, there's a satellite. It's just a giant robot in the sky, or giant computer, I should say. And it does things. It sends data, sends a bunch of computer stuff that I can get into more detail about. But, that's too much nerding, I think, for most people. But if you guys really want to go into the conversation about how GPS works, please let me know. And I will be more than happy to tell you all about it. So today I had my day off, right, this morning. But I still put my uniform on this morning and got up and went and taught a class. It was a tactician's course. And in the tactician's course, they kind of learn about the different things in space as well. And I have my background from Buckley Air Force Base that they wanted to capitalize on. So I went and taught a class of about 20 different Air Force folks about what my old job was. And it was pretty interesting to see, like, the types of technologies that I have access to my fingertips on a day-to-day basis, and then me sharing that information with these people. It's awesome to watch their faces light up with interest, and it's just the best part about the job is sharing what you do and seeing how people react to it and how invested they get into the job. So yeah, I'm not flying a billion-dollar aircraft like the F-35 fighter, but I do fly billion-dollar satellites, or rather command and control, keep them in the sky, keep them from falling necessarily. So yeah, that's what I do day to day, is command and control, ballistic missile, early warning, missile defense type stuff. So, yeah. All right, so I'm going to answer a couple of these questions. I've got about another 15 minutes or so, and that's probably about the buffer before the children come in here and start jumping on my lap and wanting stuff, because it's getting close to dinner time. Let's see. What was one of the questions? If the Space Force was all of a sudden disbanded, where would I go? Well, the Space Force is unfortunately not getting disbanded. I don't mean unfortunately. I mean fortunately. Definitely not getting disbanded. If anything, it's going to continue growing. What is happening currently within the space construct of things. This is Aviyana, if you can see her in the camera. This is my 5-year-old. She's just like her mom. And she's really needy right now. And thank you. Okay, let me finish this, okay? I'll get you a drink in just a minute. So the United States Space Command was stood up, and it was something that we had done once before, but now with current technology and the things that have developed since the last time the United States Space Command was in commission, things have certainly changed. The environment for space has certainly changed over time, whereas other countries that are competing for space are becoming more advanced and threatening the development for other countries. But, 90% of the satellites, 99% of the satellites, or 100% of the satellites are all designed with peace in mind. We have not, put weapons in space. That's never going to happen. There's a treaty that's completely against that. Brenda, I'm going to answer your question. That's cool, though. So you can fly a satellite. Do you fly drones for fun? I do not fly drones for fun, but I did find out today from an attorney that Vandenberg Air Force Base is going to be one of the first places where the security forces are actually flying drones on the base to do perimeter defense or escort services or fire. They use drones to watch the fires and stuff that come down California hills. So unfortunately I don't do anything. Thank you, Brenda, for the kids being cute. Yeah, they're wonderful when they're not really needy. So the Space Force is going to continue to grow. The Space Command stood up. It didn't change much in the fact of what I do day to day. I am a 13 Sierra, which is the Air Force Specialty Command for my job. I am a Space Operations Officer, and I will remain a Space Operations Officer. But what will happen is if the U.S. Space Force, or what some rumblings are saying, the United States Space Corps, which will be a department underneath the Air Force, kind of like how the Army had the Army Air Corps when it originally started. They're thinking that the Space Force might end up that way at first. So if that happens, then my name tape will change from United States Air Force to the United States Space Corps or the United States Space Force. I will basically be grandfathered into the other branch of service, and I will ultimately become the initial foundation of a brand new department of the military underneath another one. So that's kind of exciting to be an officer for one now, and then also two, to be a part of the foundation of the development of space. So why is it every time you talk about Space Force, I think about the Muppets classic skit, Pigs in Space? I wish I knew what you were talking about. So if you happen to find a skit, just send it to me. But that's pretty hilarious, I guess. I hope I don't look like a pig in space. So that's kind of where the Space Force is going. So definitely pay attention to the news. The Space Force is, developing, and it's going to happen. And I only have about another 5 years left in the military. 6 to make my retirement eligibility, but in my time I will see the Space Force or Space Corps get created, unless the next president or Congress or something else happens to get in the way of that evolution, which I don't know the intricacies of the black and white of the development of these programs. Usually I stay pretty in tune with that stuff, but I have not had that opportunity lately, so I have never seen pigs in space. I may not have. It might be a childhood thing that I, deleted out of my mind with all the other things I've learned over time. So, yeah, I was born in the early 80s. I'll just say that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what my age is on this, but let's see. Am I going to be Alyssa's manager? I think was the next question Chris asked. Oh, tour manager. So to speak to that, since I have Alyssa Ruffin's logo on my video, so we've had this conversation back and forth, like, do I consider myself your manager, or do I just stay in the Chili as just being the supportive husband? And so behind the scenes, Alyssa is doing a lot of the legwork to reach out to venues, to market herself to the right locations, to go out to these areas where people are inviting her to come out and sing. She's getting invites to places down in Hollywood where it takes literally months, if not years, to get invited into if you're a musician in this area. And she's getting invited to them already. So that's groundbreaking enough, right? So she's already making waves here. And so with that being said, we're wanting her career to continue. And in order to do that, to actually become a solid foundational career singer, she has to look for sponsorships. And what that means is that I am the one that's kind of taking her marketing materials, building products out of it. I've built a sponsorship proposal letter. We have been reaching out to businesses, and we have been reaching out to corporations that she's interested in, products that she's used, to see if they would be willing to donate or sponsor her. So I'm doing kind of the back end stuff. And then, of course, she is incorporated. So we did create an Alyssa Ruffin Inc. Last year in order to properly do gigs and have the 1099s for the musicians that she hires for the gigs that are being paid out, because what we found is that the amount of income she was generating was getting pretty substantial. So we needed a management process to basically keep track of what was coming in, what we were spending on merchandise, and the expenses that we were taking on, as she is literally her own self-owned business. So after the Alyssa Ruffin Inc. was created, I do all the management of the paperwork. In fact, I actually have to submit a semi-annual report to the state of Colorado by the 30th, which that deadline's coming up soon, but it's pretty easy. It's nothing too complicated. I've already got the information that I need. So not necessarily her tour manager. She's basically the one that does all the legwork to find the events and the venues. She does all of that herself. She is a self-operating machine, and she spends a lot of her time on her phone, but that time is value added because she's working from home, right? So her phone is basically her network to all of these places and all the people that she's talking to set up gigs and do tours and things. So that's her livelihood. So I fully support her time and efforts in that, because it's her dream, two, it's her passion. And she just told me today that there are two things that make her incredibly happy, and that's tacos and music. So what did I do? I came home from work today and I bought some tacos, and she's been working with music all day. So Chris, I'm sorry. First he tells me he's not broadcasting. Yeah, I did tell him that. I'm sorry. Then he hasn't seen Pigs in Space. That's 2 strikes. You ready for a third? Oh, and now Brandon brings up the fact that I didn't come on Monday. I had an excuse for Monday. I literally had like a doctor's note for Monday. So, for those of you that are tuning in, thanks for jumping on. Musical tacos, if I can get some of those, I will. So I've got about another 5 minutes. I'll answer another question. What's your favorite cartoon, both strip and animated show? I don't know. So, one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid was Woody Woodpecker and Popeye. I loved Popeye. I think that was probably one of the cartoons I watched all the time. Woody Woodpecker, I remember my dad buying a cassette tape for Christmas one year, and we were getting ready to watch it. And when he put it in, the cassette tape was completely trashed. For some reason, the cassette was just broke. It wasn't even playing properly, so it was devastating. And so what my dad ended up doing was buying a new one, but a different movie, because he couldn't find the one that he originally purchased because they were all gone. So that was kind of a bummer, but I do remember that like it was yesterday. So if I was to watch cartoons now, one of my favorite ones that I used to watch with Aurelia actually was Phineas and Ferb. I loved that cartoon. Um, I love the platypus. I think I posted when Jack Kiesling was talking about a platypus. I posted a picture of Perry the platypus on one of my posts like several weeks ago when I first started the page. So Phineas and Ferb, hands down, one of the most hilarious cartoons I've ever watched. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Ooh, Alyssa's icon in the upper right corner. Yeah, put her icon up there because, branding, right? Like, I support my wife. I love her. I got my What's Up Chuck flyer that's on there that Jack Kiesling made for me. It was intended as kind of like a quick thing for the page, but so far it's become like the moniker for me to do that, to have that guy around. So it's like perfectly fitting. I'm in the Air Force. He's wearing like a Air Force uniform, and he's kind of cartoony and pretty great, actually. In fact, if I can get one in a space uniform, I would love it. Oh, here's Aspen, everybody, and her hair is nicely done. Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, absolutely. I know, I saw you. Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favorites. So let's see.
My shadow.
How often do you just take a minute to say amen? Oh, I already answered that one. Oh, did Vandenberg Air Force Base have a ball this year? You know what? That's bad news to bring up because Vandenberg Air Force Base does something strange. I guess every year they go back and forth. They have a ball one year, and then they do what's called a combat dining out the next. I guess that was something that the Spouses Club or something voted on several years ago, and they've kept that tradition going. So it's kind of a form of contention right now with Alyssa because she loves going to the Air Force Ball. She loves to get dazzled up. She loves to dress up. Any opportunity to go shop for a new dress, she will take. And I love taking her because I get to get dressed up to the nines in my mess dress, and we get to go hang out, eat a good meal for a night, and then do a little bit of dancing at the end. So it's a nice evening away in a military fashion, which I have done pretty much every single year. And here is Aurelia. Welcome. This is my oldest. This is the one that I ended up going to the urgent care for. We found out that she has a dislocated rib, so that's not good. So she's taking it easy. She didn't get a chance to do her jogathon today, but she is recovering slowly. There's not much you can really do for a dislocated rib.
Or a curved spine.
Yep. Well, a curved spine is something we'll take care of in the future.
Don't forget her cat.
All right.
It's only 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's only 3 weeks.
Hi, Brenda.
Okay, so I think I hit my 30 minutes. I would go for another 30 minutes, but I gotta get dinner started with Alyssa. I just wanted to jump on here and kind of, bring up the missing veteran. Again, looking for support with that. Please go out to the Facebook group and join it if you can. Keep an eye on the progress. He's been missing for over a month, so unfortunately there are things they have to consider as far as whether or not when they find him what condition he's going to be in. But prepare, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst kind of deal in this scenario. So I answered a few questions today. Please stay tuned on my page. I love seeing all the good news articles shared with me. I hope you guys enjoy seeing them too. What's up, Brian? How you doing, sir? Hi, Miss Patricia Conger. How are you?
Hi,
Aspen saying hi. I'll keep doing these shows, the What's Up Wednesdays and the Music and the Mission on Monday. Stay tuned. I do have a YouTube channel also that this streams to live, as well as my Twitch. I know not everybody has to get an account to all three to see me, but coming on here, supporting me on Facebook allows me to go out and edit my videos on those two avenues, which just kind of spreads the information that I share to different avenues. And I hope that they're fruitful enough to be worthy to watch in the future. Yeah, thanks, Brenda. I appreciate the good news comments too. Yeah, if there's any questions regarding the military or what's going on in the military, please share those, and I'll be happy to answer. My cousin asked a bunch of questions about aliens and stuff, which I don't have time to get into today, but I will another time. So, what's up, Mr. Morty? How are you? Good luck on your show. I'm gonna sign off. Have a good one. This is my show called What's Up Wednesdays on What's Up Chuck. I am your host, Chuck Ruffin. These are my beautiful co-hosts, Aspen, Aurelia, and Aviyana. Thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you guys again in the future. I said Aspen. I said you.
Okay, I can't.
And again, I do these mostly as kind of a video journal for my kids, so that way they have something to look back on in the future. And I hope that these are good for them. So, all right, peace out. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye,
Say
Pookie.
bye. Bye.